A reminder that our attendance register is on the WhatsApp group. Please let's ensure that all of us who are present today are able to join. As soon as Alan starts facilitating, I will share the link in the chat. Please pay attention to the chat so that you can make sure that you sign your attendance register. I'll also continuously reshare the link just as chats are running, just to make sure that the link remains active on the chat. Alan, are you good to go?
Good afternoon, Jedidah. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, I think we are good to go. Are we waiting for more people to come through? Because I can see we're about 16 attendants.
Yeah, I believe we are good to go, Alan. Thank you.
All right, okay, cool. Thank you. So I'm gonna start my presentation just in a minute's time.
Okay, colleagues. So while Alan is getting ready to start his presentation, please let's draw attention to the chat. I will be posting the link there for the attendance register for those who've just joined us, just to make sure that all of us are signed on to the attendance register.
Hi, Jedidah. Can somebody confirm that I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, and we can see your screen says DISA integration.
Yes, sir, you're
all right. All right, okay, thank you so much. So let me begin by expressing my delight to be part of this meeting with the trainers, of course, to talk about the DISA integration with the Smart Care EHR system. So without wasting much of your time, let me just quickly dive into the presentation. So I'm going to start with the layout of the presentation. So I'll touch on what the integration means. and why the integration is necessary. I think it is important that we grasp that. And also we'll talk about the challenges with the manual system, which is kind of the current situation. And also we'll talk about how the integration works and the benefits thereof. And also I'll touch on the implementation, the way it has been implemented. And also last but not the least, I'll touch on results reception in SmartCare Plus. So what is the integration, or rather SmartCare DISA integration? So by this, we simply mean a direct integration between the two systems, that is, of course, SmartCare Plus and DISA Lab. And what this means also, in other words, is that we are bringing together two different systems, DISA and SmartCare Plus, to create a unified system, or rather one single system. So as you might know, DISA is a whole different system. Of course, it is a laboratory information system, and then we also have SmartCare Plus, which is an electronic health record system. So these are two separate systems. They've been developed using different technology. They've been coded differently. The programming is different. But then what the integration means is that we are bringing two different systems built on different technologies, and we are bringing them to work together as though they were a unified system. So then what then is the goal of this integration? So one, it is to eliminate most of the challenges and ensure that the data captured in both systems is complete as possible. And also the other goal is basically to ensure that the data is more reliable and timelier to inform patient care at facility level. And this data, of course, must be of high quality to inform policy direction, program design, program interventions, and also to optimize resource allocation. And why is the integration necessary? So basically, the integration was necessitated by the challenges posed by the hard copy requisition forms at testing laboratories, as well as the facilities that are making these requests. And some of the challenges have been highlighted below. One, you would agree with me that the results are lost in transit. And it's not only the results, even the lab orders are lost in transit. So chances of that happening are quite high. I think the other challenge is the inefficiencies in the courier mechanism. So imagine how the results, or rather the lab orders, as well as the results, move from facility to the lab, and also from the lab to the facility. So somebody, of course, will come, pick the specimen, move with the lab order forms and stuff like that, and vice versa. So there are those inefficiencies. And even as that is happening, people have to travel miles, just to take the lab results, or even to take the lab forms and the specimen to the lab. And so that is also quite, time consuming in that regard. So I've already touched on the third item, which speaks to the latency in transcription into SmartCare Plus. You agree with me that even as the motorbike is bringing the lab orders to the facility, or taking the lab orders and the specimen to the lab, there are these, the records are not captured immediately into the system. There's that time lag. I'm sure colleagues will agree with me. You've been to, data rooms where they'll show you a pile of facilities that of lab results that have been received but are yet to be entered into the system. So there's that time lag. So it also poses as a challenge. And also there are those data transcription errors. The results would have come correctly from the DISA lab, inscripted on a piece of paper, but one who is punching those results into the system, chances that they'll make errors are quite high and stuff like that. So those are some of the challenges that were identified. And so moving to how the integration works and the benefits. So DISA laboratory electronically receive test orders from SmartCare Plus. That is one of the advantage. So like I was saying, the lab orders in the manual system, they'll have to be transported by, the courier services, which could be a bike or a vehicle, and there's that distance just to deliver. But with the integration, the lab test orders are transmitted to DISA electronically. And how this happens, it happens not in seconds, but in milliseconds. Milliseconds is just so fast. And at this stage, the way it has been integrated currently, only viral load and early infant diagnosis tests are supported. This is a very important point. So when we are talking about DISA SmartCare integration, currently we are only supporting these two tests, viral load and EID. So what happens is that when the lab orders are processed and results are reviewed, the results are electronically transmitted back to SmartCare Plus. So in a nutshell, this eliminates the movement of results from the DISA lab to a facility, via this normal method of transportation where we are using vehicles or motorcycle, and also the other way of moving the lab orders from a facility to the lab. But this is done electronically, and again, it is super fast and it is in milliseconds. So how do the benefits look like? One, less data transcription workload at both the testing laboratory as well as the requesting or receiving site. So there's no human involvement. Nobody will be punching in numbers, and nobody will be punching in the patient's details and stuff. There's nothing like that. So all the details are transmitted electronically, and they are received in the system electronically, and they are made to sit in the system electronically. So there's that aspect of electronic data storage. And also the other benefits is that it improves turnaround time, as well as it also ultimately improve quality of care, as well as just service delivery, and also improved outcomes, so to say, if I can put it that way. Okay, so let's move to the implementation. So we are saying it takes the following to be in place for it to work. So a number of items have to be put, a number of things have to be put in place for this integration to work. And this includes, one, the facility must be running on SmartCare Plus version 1.6.4 and above. But again, I must mention that no facility should, or rather no facility is currently running on SmartCare Plus 1.6.4 when we have a much more superior version, which is 1.6.6 running in the facilities. And also when it comes to DISA feature 1.6.6 as much more, or rather has more enhancements compared to the older version, which is 1.6.4. So you just have to make sure that the correct version is running at the facility. The second requirement is a stable link or network, which might be through the APN or internet. So very important, colleagues. When you have any facility facing integration challenges, these are some of the things that you need to look at. Network stability through the APN, or if a facility uses internet, that's what you need to look out for. Number 3, installation of barcode fonts on the server and client computers, generating lab requisition forms. So for this to work, whenever we generate a lab request form, it should have a barcode. Okay, so any lab requisition form without a barcode is rendered useless. It cannot be used at a DISA lab. They cannot receive that lab requisition. So the barcode is very important. And how that can be done is we need to install the barcode fonts on the server, as well as the computer that is being used in the facility to generate the lab requisition form. And the other requirement is the barcode printer. The barcode printer, it is required at the facility. So why do we need a barcode printer? So when you look at the specimen bottle, we want to map it to the right lab requisition form. So you print out a barcode, you print out the barcode using a barcode printer, and then you get that barcode and stick it to the specimen. And also, when you print out the lab requisition form, it will also have the barcode. So using the printer, you print the lab requisition form, which has a barcode, and also you are using the barcode printer to print the barcode which you are going to stick on the lab, or rather on the specimen bottle. And last but not the least, you need the procedure. So the procedure is very important. So as we go to train facilities on how the integration works, we need to discuss and agree on the procedure. So for example, a facility needs to resolve. They need to resolve and agree that they are moving away from the old system of using the lab requisition forms from those books to the ones which are system generated. So there it must be settled. The facility needs to agree. And using two systems in parallel, it's something that has proven not to be effective, and it just doesn't work. So the facility needs to decide, whenever we are sending samples to an external lab for testing, we are not going to use the manual system. We are not going to use the forms which we generate from the book, but we'll be relying on the ones which are generated from the SmartCare Plus system. So that's an example. And also, this procedure must also be discussed and agreed upon with the lab where with the lab where these specimens are processed, so that they also start expecting to only receive lab requisition forms which are generated from the system. And so that they can also be made aware that when they are processing specimens for facility A, these specimens, they are sent back via electronic means. So they need to be aware. And why they need to be aware, you'll agree with me that these guys at the labs, they are not only processing samples coming from one facility, but they are managing samples coming from different facilities. So it must be clear that facility A and B, this is the procedure that they've adopted. They've gone electronic. So it must be agreed. And everybody in the facility must know the procedure. If we are going to use, if we'll be using the barcode, sticker or label, they call it barcode labels to, to label our specimen bottles, it should be discussed as such that this is the procedure. If a facility doesn't have the barcode printer to print the barcode labels, they should find a way of labeling those, specimens, and also finding a way that, just to ensure that the specimen in the lab requisition form, which is generated from the system, they move together. And they should be inseparable until they reach the lab. Okay. And then last but not the least, this work is done in the background by our developers. It is the mapping of the facilities to the mapping of the facilities to the referral labs. So there's what we call an health information exchange platform, which we abbreviate as HIE. I'm sure this is a term that will be so much in your vocabulary. So what that platform does is the one which handles the exchange of messages from DISA and Smart Care Plus, making the integration to work. So the mapping must be done on the HIE platform as well, so that we know that facility A sends, if facility A sends lab orders to lab E, the mapping has to be done as such on the HIE platform. So again, this is one method that you can also use to troubleshoot. If the integration isn't working, you need to find out whether mapping was done or not. If it was done, then you can look at other issues which border on some of the items that we have already discussed. So still on the implementation, I did some kind of a visualization, so that just to help us understand. So here, as you can see, this is basically at the facility. So the clinician would make okay. So here on the left-hand side, this happens at the facility. So the clinician or the nurse will make a lab order in Smart Care Plus using any clinical interaction. So it is just using any clinical interaction. It could be OPD. It could be, one of the ART modules, stable on care, clinical follow-up, and those, yeah. So basically the clinical interactions. Whenever they do a viral load order or an EID order, this is, the integration happens. It actually works in the background. The person who is really screening shouldn't even get concerned about, this work which is happening in the background. Them is just to order and to print out, and all the work is just happening in the background. Okay. And what do they need to do once they make this, they open this clinical interaction? I've put this word finalize in bold, because when they finalize, that's when the transmission happens. So all lab orders which are made in and finalized clinical interactions cannot, or rather are not synchronized. They are just clogging at the facility. So in nutshell, when you finalize, that's when it's more like you are saying send to DISA. So that's what it means. And then up here at the facility, colleagues, you also need to bear in mind that each facility has a router. It has the APN connectivity. In most of the facilities, we are using the APN connectivity, or in other words, since I'm speaking to laymen, just know that there's a network. So on that network, there's a gadget which is called an APN. So this APN handles data transmission out and into smart care. Okay, and when this data is trafficked out, the receiving facility, which is or the receiving system, which is more like an intermediary system, it is the HIE. Of course, the abbreviation is HIE, but the full term is Health Information Exchange. So this handles transmission out and into the HIE platform. And what happens here is that the messages coming from all the facilities are queued and synced to DISA. So queued, and then they are pushed to DISA. So here, this is, so if you hear that maybe the results have taken long to come, I would want you to understand this diagram, because it could mean that they are on a queue. If the network is okay, the server is running optimally, then they'll be synced and then pushed to Smart Care Plus or to DISA. And also between the HIE and the DISA lab system, again, there's a network. Okay, so this network now handles transmission of data into DISA as well as out of the DISA system. So at the DISA lab, there is the lab orders are received from Smart Care. The specimen is processed, or the specimen is processed, and then I've put in bold the term authorize. Please, it's very important that you know this term, authorize, because even as you are making a follow-up to a DISA lab, these are the terminologies that you'll be using, and they also know this terminology, where these results authorized. So once they process the results and authorize, the results are transmitted back to Smart Care Plus, again via HIE and eventually into Smart Care Plus. Okay. So Smart Care Plus results, yes.
Hi, Alan. Perhaps we can pause here for questions, just in case colleagues on the call want to ask questions so far. Colleagues, over to you. Do you have any questions this far? Please feel free to unmute and speak, or to use the chat for questions.
Good afternoon, team, and good afternoon, everyone. Mine is not really
Please go ahead.
Yeah, mine is not really a question. I'm Matthias, by the way, Matthias Mwinga. Yeah, so it's not really a question, but I need clarity. EID lab order forms and also VL lab order forms, if any of you has ever had an opportunity of handling it, you agree with me that they already come with barcodes. And then I'm just thinking of printers that would give us barcodes that are sticky, that are using that stick type of paper, so that you are able to stick it on the bottle. With that cost and that tech, I don't know how many of our facilities will be able to just sustain that. But if we say we continue using the current version of lab order forms that are being used, which already have these stickers and barcodes on them, then that will even simplify our work. And so my concern is that barcode, which is already on these lab order forms that are currently in use, able to be used in this integration, or that one is not viable? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. You can mute, please. All right, thank you. So thank you so much for that question. So indeed, the viral load lab requisition forms that are currently being used in the facilities, they indeed come with barcode, with the barcode feature. But that is a whole different system. That is a manual system. For this integration to work, the lab order should be generated from SmartCare, not the one which is gotten from the book. Okay? It should be generated from the system, because the programming is in the system. The system is aware. So the two systems, DISA and SmartCare, they only know the lab orders that are coming from the two systems and the results coming from the two systems for them to accept. You can only use the ones the ones that we are using, manual ones, for the manual ones from the books, if you're doing it manual. But if you want it to happen between the two systems, like I said, this is more like a unified system where DISA knows SmartCare and SmartCare knows DISA. It has to be something that is coming either from the two systems, SmartCare or DISA. So that can't work. Okay, so that's the reason now bringing. If I can also just speak to the other angle that you were coming, or rather that you had mentioned. That's the reason why I spoke about the procedure. This must be discussed. Okay, so even if you're printing out a lab requisition form, for example, if I can maybe just, I didn't want really to preempt about some of the procedures. For example, a facility can choose to be printing out the lab orders. And what do they need to print out the lab orders from the system? They just need an ordinary printer. No special printer is required. They don't need to print it in color. Even in black and white, it is sufficient. And that lab order, so long it was printed, it came out from SmartCare, it will be used at a DISA lab. Okay, so coming to the barcode label to stick on the bottle, that one, if the facility has such a printer, so as we are integrating, so remember, this is a program, this is a ministry's program, and funders, the different funding agencies are involved. So as we begin talking about this, I believe there will be a time when these facilities will have the barcode printers to print out the barcode labels. But even in the absence of those printers, the facility can choose to find a way. They can choose to find a way of how they can put the lab request form, which was printed from the system, and the specimen bottle together, just finding a way. In case somebody would want to learn more, I know of a facility like Chainda South in Lusaka. You can visit Chainda. They don't have a barcode printer to print out the barcode label, but they have found a way of pairing together the lab order and the specimen, and that's what they are using to send to Levy. So it's possible. So the procedure must be discussed. Jed, I can take another question if there's any. If there's no other question, allow me to proceed.
Alan, you can proceed.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's move to SmartCare Plus results reception. So what we are saying is that this happens when results are authorized in DISA lab information system. So when the results are authorized, the results are transmitted electronically into SmartCare Plus. And also the other thing which happens is that a laboratory and investigation interaction. I'm sure you've seen that investigation interaction. I don't know, what is it called? Is it order and investigation results in SmartCare? The one which contains the results. That interaction is automatically created in SmartCare, and it contains results from DISA. So instead of the current normal, where when the results come on a paper from DISA, one will have to start an investigations and results interaction to key in the results that have come from DISA. So that won't happen. That process is something which will be happening electronically. Madam Chair, kindly, could you please kindly mute that mic which is unmuted? All right, okay, thank you.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
We have a hand from Venzu.
All right.
Alan, sorry.
Hi, Alan.
Good afternoon, Vince. How are you?
Good afternoon, thank you. Mine was more of a suggestion. I think I'd like to appreciate what you're presenting. Maybe one way for others to understand and appreciate how everything works would be maybe trying to do a live demo of how everything else is going to work. I don't know whether we have something in the pipeline for that for the next meeting or something.
Yes.
Over to you.
Okay. Yeah, that is well noted, Benzu. Actually, we do have that one coming in the pipeline. We were trying to push for a meeting where MOH would have to call all the key stakeholders, and then the purpose of that meeting was actually to talk about DISA and also find a common ground in terms of the way forward. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to demonstrate the integration where we make a lab order in SmartCare, and also once that lab order is done in SmartCare, we switch to DISA so that our colleagues at the DISA lab can receive the lab requisition, process the specimen, and authorize the results. And also we check back in SmartCare whether those results have been received. So that was the plan, and that has been in the plan. And maybe Lisa can speak much more to that because she's the one who was engaging Ministry of Health, the lab focal person in that regard. Okay, so thank you so much for that question.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much for that response.
All right.
Alan, just a quick time check so that you can pace yourself. It's 15:53.
All right, that is well noted. And then what happens is that the returned reports are listed. Okay, so the point which I was talking about is, the lab, the results are auto, they automatically come in SmartCare Plus, and that lab audit investigation, or rather the results and investigation interaction, it is automatically generated. The retained results are listed on the results received report in SmartCare. So you can also run a report in SmartCare to check which results have come back from DISA, and the results are counted and picked in various aggregate reports in that regard. So what is the benefit? There's no human effort to input results in the SmartCare Plus system. So this marks the end of my presentation. But then what I wanted to show colleagues is that this is how it looks. This is how it looks. I don't know. Is my screen, am I still sharing the screen? Can you see? Okay, let me just check. Jedida.
Alan?
Madam Chair, we began at 6:10, at 3:10, sorry. Why do you want to steal my time?
You're doing late. I'll allow 5 extra minutes just so that we don't hold 147 healthcare workers longer than they need to be. The nation needs them.
Not a problem. All right, so again, I'll be quick. Don't worry about that. So I don't know if you can see this part in SmartCare.
Yes, we can see it.
We're able to see.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you guys, you already know this. To CMO, we can assign. Yeah, this is the one here, attend. So basically, the clinician will just, they can use any clinical module to generate this. So if it's art, again, this one is going to take a bit longer, right? Okay, clinical follow-up. If I can just do that. Will it save Jedida if I skip other parts just to move to the investigations?
It won't.
It won't, huh? Because now what I'm demonstrating now, I want to show.
I think I also wanted to share that we do have a DISA lab job aid circulating. We can reshare that with the attendees on this meeting. That's why it's important that people sign up on the attendance register so that the DISA lab job aid can be shared. And it's also available on our cloud, on the cloud links. Usually those ones are going around within our circles. So the DISA lab job aid is available as well. There are 2 hands up. I don't know, Alan, if I can take those hands.
Yes, you can take the hands, and I'm just glad to hear that we have a the job aids. So my colleagues can then refer to those job aids. Thank you.
Sure. And also just to share with colleagues that DISA is actively implemented in Southern Province right now. So it's something that is actively used there, as well as some of the facilities like Alan mentioned, like Chainda South. So Holiab, please make your question very summarized. I hope it hasn't already been addressed. And then Lazarus can go.
Okay. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Jedida. Okay, mine is just a concern. I've noticed that probably the DISA link is more to the HIV program. I wanted to find out, is there plans there are certain facilities that uses DISA, all the tests like Kafiwe General Hospital, Mwami, all the tests, be it full blood count and all that. Is there a plan, or they'll still use to use two system file and enter results? The details they'll get from SmartCare, then enter them manually into DISA for the other tests like full blood count and these others? Or are there plans very soon to link that or to be mapped? Thank you.
Okay,
We
so
can
I
have
can.
the second question, Alan, then you can answer both at the same time.
Not a
Lazarus,
problem.
please
Hello,
go ahead.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
All right. So mine is more of just SmartCare. Plus, yeah, looking at the investigation and results part for the SmartCare column there, there was a concern with the geology that how are they going to be able to extract the reports, the monthly reports, looking at the investigation and results for lab and geology are grouped together. So it's very difficult for them to extract the reports, the monthly reports.
Alan, over to you.
Hello?
You can answer both, please. Is he on the call?
Yes, I am, Jed. But I think I can only speak to the first one. Maybe, Jed, you can take up the one with regards to radiology and maybe just provide guidance. It is indeed a definite yes. They've actually, talks to extend to other lab tests beyond viral load and EID. When that will take off, I might not have a definite answer, but I've been in forums where these suggestions have been made, and we look forward to having that implemented, in the next FY. Hopefully. Thank you.
Okay, so for the second question, I think colleagues may wish to know, and we always emphasize this on forums such as this ones, that for any feature requests, anything with regards to reporting, we do have a procedure for those to be documented, and that is our service desk. So for any other questions that may not pertain to this particular topic, we want to drive visibility to our service desk, because that gives us ability to be able to track all the requisitions with regards to new feature requests in the case where people want to be able to have their x-rays or radiology and all those things there documented. So for that one, my best advice is to have it on the service desk as a ticket, but also to remind colleagues that not only do we have the actual service desk, we do have the WhatsApp line and also the number for calling for all of these things to be documented. And then as a project, we can take them up and attend to them. So there's one last question, Alan, from the chat. When will the DISA SmartCare Plus synchronization or installation take place in Muchinga province?
All right, so that is basically a good question. So our plan is that when we roll out SmartCare Plus to a facility, even DISA feature is rolled out together as a package. But I think as we were doing the last deployments, I think we missed on that great opportunity. But nonetheless, there's something that we are already doing. Our IT officer from Chinga submitted all the mapping for the SmartCare Plus sites in Muchinga to their respective labs. So that information has come and is going to be loaded on the HIE. And the other ask that we have told him to do is to install the barcode fonts on all those, on the computers at those facilities. Once that is done, I want to rest assure the Mchinga team that what will just remain is just to understand the job aid and to start using. So just now sit the facilities down and discuss on the procedure, bringing on board all the stakeholders, including the labs, so that we can start using the integration. Otherwise, that's what is left. In terms of timeline for us, we are set to complete this work by the 8th of September. This work would have completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. So colleagues, I'd like to bring our meeting to a close, and I want to appreciate Alan taking the time to join us. I think this is also a request for you to continue to support this process, Mr. Makungu. I think it's very insightful whenever you join. And I've noticed a trend that whenever Alan is presenting, our attendance actually goes up for some reason. So I think it's just an indication that people are hungry for more technical insights with regards to smart care. I think in terms of usage, we've done that quite well. So I think when it comes to more technical information, people are willing to listen in and to support the process. So it will be a good opportunity for us to extend our trainers and champions beyond supporting capacity building, but also IT services and the service desk and the entire spectrum of the Smart Care Plus implementation. So thank you again, Mr. Makungu. And colleagues, thank you for joining this session. We will.
Sorry, Jade.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, there was a question asking if you're going to share the presentation.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I missed that one here.
Okay, Mr. Makungu will share with me, and then we will circulate it in our usual forum via email on the group, and also I think all possible avenues. We will share it, and what we will work on is all the presentations that have been done every month. I think we need to just create a folder for all the presentations so that people can always refer to them at their own time. So thank you once again, colleagues, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jade.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.